Phones off. Hey, John. Yeah. You still haven't heard anything from... Okay.
I sent that email where I say we get met
2 weeks ago?
Wednesday, so we don't have Fridays.
Okay.
2 weeks coming up this Friday.
Okay. Should reach out to see.
Okay.
I'll talk to them afterwards, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure that there was good.
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything back.
Okay, no, we haven't. Stop it. Sorry.
Are we ready? Welcome. I'd like to call this November 8th Commissioners meeting to order. If you'll stand and join me with Pledge of Allegiance and a short prayer. Heavenly Father, we ask that you look over our county, that you watch and bless us, and that you bless our nation. We ask for your guidance and direction and wisdom in making good decisions for our county. All these things we ask in your heavenly precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Have the commissioners had an opportunity to review the claims? And if so, do I have a motion?
Motion to accept as presented. You missed a minute.
Okay.
Just check.
Motion carries 3-0. Have the commissioners had an opportunity to review the minutes from previous meetings for October 24th, 25th? And if so, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve as presented.
I second.
Motion is made and seconded to approve the previous minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Commissioners had an opportunity to review the payroll, and if so, do I have a motion?
Motion to accept as presented.
I second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve payrolls presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. EDC update. Penny or Corey? I know. I'm not sure if that's good or bad, but. You feel the love, don't you, Corey? Thank you.
Thank you.
Wanted to start out with this one pager. This is fairly new. It's additional guidance to be helpful to those submitting for projects on Ready. It is an efficient location for all of the state's key performance indicators and then the region's goals. I previously shared both via email and it's on the regional website, the list of questions that need to be answered when a project is being submitted. Some of those questions ask how the project that is being submitted, which goals it's tied to. And so this is a real efficient place to find that information. And this is supposed to be also on the website also. But I got it yesterday via email, and so I wanted to bring this to your attention and make sure that you were aware of it, and anybody here in the audience or those watching on the interweb.
So how long is the call for projects open for? What's the deadline?
The call for projects is open until November 17th at 5 p.m. In early October, there was a call
Oh, I see it down at the bottom. Sorry, I hadn't
all
gotten
right.
that far.
In early October, there was a one-pager that was shared, you know,
I'm gonna
what
put you in
people
the same
needed to be,
category as Corey, so.
what people needed to be thinking about. And then there was the regional meeting on October 25th. I know that conflicted with a regular commissioner meeting. So although the deadline seems short, there's been information out there for well over a month. I will say that when you look at the questions, not every question has to be in the affirmative. If it is a viable project or could be viable in a few months, and it aligns with the regions, then not. You know, one of the hang-ups is the local match requirement. You know, obviously, not every project is going to have every penny of local match identified, secured by November 17th. But if there's a viable path forward, or who the project sponsor would go ask for a match, we want to see good projects be submitted.
So I want to clarify the match. It's not 80-20, ready 80%, the project 20%. It's the reverse, right?
It is the reverse.
It's 80% for the project, from the project, and 20% from ready.
Yes. The ideal.
I think that's a little confusing to some people that I've talked to, because it's typically 80-20 reverse.
The preferred funding mix or capital stack on a project is 20% ready, 20% local, 60% private. Now, I said preferred, not necessarily required. On a portfolio basis, so if you think of your 401k, or on a portfolio basis, you want your entire portfolio of projects, the state wants all of the ready projects to be a 4-to-1 match. So for every dollar of ready, they want to leverage it 4 times. But not every individual project needs to have that.
Okay.
It becomes, it's a straightforward question and a long answer. There's an opportunity to have a conversation / negotiation on some projects. Maybe the ready will be more than 20%. But ideally, 20, 20, 60. If people have questions about the projects, about the submission, you feel free to send me an email or call the office. You can also, at the bottom of this one-pager, there are 2 names, Trevor Friedeberg at the Regional Partnership, and then the consulting firm that's helping us put all this together is Rachel Christensen. So those 2 folks are good resources. You can also feel free to call me as well. The deadline, again, is next Friday at 5 p.m. That was my information on ready. And then I gave you a document, Taylor Seifer Williams Design Group. I want to plant a seed here today, and then maybe come back at a future meeting for further discussion if there's interest. You're seeing this for the first time, so I'm not looking for a decision today. For a couple years, there has been interest in doing a wayfinding study countywide, and that it kind of languished and it went to the back burner. Mm-hmm. It was re-energized recently, and the city has made some money available to do a city of Newcastle wayfinding study. And the city council president, Rex Peckinpah, I think had a brief conversation with Commissioner Plummer, and then included me and said, why don't we ask the county if they would like to participate with us and do a county-wide plus the city It would lower the contribution of what the city would have to pay, and if the county ever wanted to do it on their own, it's more efficient to do it now together than on your own. I'm going to highlight a couple lines in this document, and then maybe at a future meeting we can have a further discussion, or feel free to call me before then. So on the first page under the project understanding, it is a comprehensive signage location plan to identify county and community destinations and preferred vehicular and bicycle routes. Task 2, the coordination meetings. There will be a group of stakeholders to identify countywide destinations, wayfinding, routing needs. It is anticipated that this effort will include specialty groups such as trail and bike advocates, public officials, and local tourism groups. Turning the page, they'll do base mapping. They'll come up with a sign content policy. Wayfinding directional, so task 5, wayfinding directional and identification sign drawings. In other words, what would they look like? Is it consistent with maybe some other branding efforts within the community? The second paragraph under task 5 there, the wayfinding signs are intended to be utilized to orient visitors and residents to community facilities and amenities. The signage system would be branded uniquely to Henry County and be visible for both pedestrian and vehicular travel. The identification signs would serve as identification for specific destinations and amenities in the community, and it could include identification signage for public parking and public restroom facilities. Task 6 is a gateway sign concept. So think of the major entrances to the county. Welcome to Henry County. That could be an outcome. And then signage location plan. In other words, where within the confines of state law and county ordinance could these signs be legally placed? That's, in my mind, that's the real value of pursuing this effort. Is yes, we could all probably get together and come up with a sign and what we want it to look like, but where can it legally go, particularly on state routes and also along the county highway system? And then task 8 is the final wayfinding master plan. From a cost perspective, I'm on the back page. It's the total to include the city of Newcastle and then the unincorporated areas of the county is $50,000. I have $5,000 from tourism funds to go towards this. So if I take $50,000 minus 5, that gives me $45,000. And then if we divide 45 in 2, that's 22 and a half.
Very good.
I did that math before I standing at the podium here. It's about like thinking north, south, and east and west, right? Got to figure it out first. That is less than what the city has appropriated. I don't think you could do this on your own for 22.5, though. So there's the value of considering it now. I'll pause. If there are any questions related to this or other economic development or tourism topics, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, I'm feeling Penny look at me that I've talked too long.
She does have her head kind of turned to the side. And
Yeah.
So let's talk about the destination for the solar eclipse. I keep seeing, are you guys still just being the landing zone of
We are.
people having their
We are.
events? Okay. Are you getting a lot?
We are. More every day.
Okay.
April 8th.
April 8th, yep. Okay. No, I remember, I think I was still sitting back there many years ago when the first topic of wayfinding
Yeah.
came up. I want to say, what you may have said it and I missed it.
2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. Well, maybe it wasn't that long ago. I was thinking more like 18, 19.
Maybe time flies when you're having fun.
I don't know. So, okay. Thank you. I don't have anything else.
You have anything, Joe?
Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. Next item up, monthly treasurer's report. Do I have a motion to accept?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to accept the treasurer's report. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Angela's over here.
Angela's over there. Angela, do you have anything?
On behalf of your EMA Director, Tim Welch, he asked me to bring this proposal to you for approval. In April, or the spring, he did not say April. I had April in my head because for something else. The spring of 2024, he would like to do an active assailant drill similar to what we did at Newcastle High School, but within this building. And he said that he would come to you and let you help dictate what day and hours of that day would work well, but he just needed your approval to get working on that planning.
He had reached out to me a couple weeks ago. I think it's a great idea to do. It was very successful at the high school. So I don't have a problem with that. Do any of you? So we'll just make it official in a public meeting that I will make the motion to utilize this building for active assailant.
Okay, thank you. And then just kind of to dovetail off of what Mr. Murphy was talking about as far as the eclipse is concerned, we obviously are very excited about the opportunity of the people from around the United States and beyond, really, that are coming into our county and surrounding counties, because we are in that main vein where they're going to have total darkness for the longest amount of time. I just want to put a plug in from all emergency preparedness point of view. We continue to have numerous meetings about planning for that, and so it's just like planning Woodstock, but on steroids. Okay, where's the paper here? Because I want that a quote. It is literally like planning Woodstock on steroids. Anybody here at Woodstock? Anybody old enough that was there? Not quite old enough. So,
I think there is one person here that was there. He was a child.
just to kind of put the other point of view out here, we want it to be a safe event. We do not want injuries. We do not want, certainly don't want any deaths. And eye injuries are the topic of the day. And those eye injuries are not going to show up the day of. They're going to start showing up 2 and 3 days later, and then our emergency rooms are going to kind of be overrun and things like that. And from a state perspective, just to give you a little bit of what I heard from our District 6 emergency planning meeting from the health departments and hospitals perspective, is that basically everybody's already busy. So we're not going to get help from state police. We're not going to get help from State Department of Highway and things like that. So we're really kind of on our own with that. And so I know that we're talking about, different ways to mitigate and make it as safe as we can. But I would like to meet with the people, and I think maybe Newcastle Main Street kind of has a thing kind of like Hagerstown does. Hagerstown's got this huge following and gathering and meeting of people. I would very much like to have an invitation to the EDC or to Newcastle Main Street from an emergency preparedness perspective, just so that we can all be in lockstep and we can help the best that we can to make this the safest event that we can, because it's going to last for several days. Because when you bring 1 million people into Henry, Hancock, and Wayne County, they all have to exit. And how do we do that? So 70's going to get shut down. Every way out of here is going to be shut down. People are going to run out of gas. People are going to run out of food. People are going to run out of water. One of the suggestions that was made in our meeting too, and we'll be following up from an environmental health standpoint is working to let the restaurants know about predicted numbers of individuals so that they can order ahead, and, you know, Walmart, Kroger, and Aldi, and have those types of things available so that we don't have people be hungry.
Because
So-
we are expecting a great influx of people. to
Yeah,
our county.
yes, we are. Yeah. So we just, you know, we've been working on it on our end, and I know you guys have been working on it on your end. And it seems so far away, but I think now's a good time that we kind of cross paths in a conversation.
That depends. If Angela says no, then no.
So I don't know if you were aware of this, but I've had a brief meeting with the EMA director.
Okay,
He
perfect.
has provided some bullet points to us. We are going to include that in basically an article or a blog post
Perfect.
that incorporates things that event planners, the public needs to be aware of, business owners need to be aware of. And then we are thinking about having a meeting,
Okay.
and you certainly would be invited.
Yes, because Dawn Showalter is our public health emergency preparedness liaison there with our grant. So we would try to make sure Dawn's there.
I'm looking
And
probably at early December at this
Yeah.
point, maybe in this room.
Yep. That would be fabulous, and then if we could invite the business owners and anybody that is going to have, you know, something to do, even if you're having somebody stay at your house because you turned it into a bed and breakfast for the next 3 days in April, you know, anybody, this would be a great place so that people could ask questions and we could route them to the
I
right
agree.
resources.
I personally don't understand the draw, but I know a lot of people are very excited to have the 3 minutes of darkness. And sorry, my phone rang. Absolutely, you know. But I think we were all raised at a time that when there was a solar eclipse, you stayed in the house and you didn't do anything. But I think it's great that we're going to get this influx of people and economic development in some way, or at least food and beverage monies and, you know, people enjoying our county. And too bad we don't have the Wayfinder signs now, but that's all right.
We'll get them where they need to go. So I'm ready for, during COVID, Henry County as a whole, we received a lot of accolades from the state about how we work together between departments, all, you know, health, you guys, the police, and everything. So I want to repeat that if we can have it.
Thank you. So I made a motion.
I was going to do that. I have a motion to approve the EMA's request for the assailant training. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and second for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Before I forget it, Cindy from the chamber, do you have anything?
Can I bring some stuff to you?
I recognize him.
My boss said I could pull a Corey Murphy and give you things today, so that's why I brought this. My name is Cindy Brooks. I'm with the Newcastle Henry County Chamber of Commerce, and I handed out today our chamber magazine. If no one's gotten one, you're welcome to come get one of these or come by the office. This issue was, if you remember, we brought over, we had started an ambassador group, a youth ambassador group this year. And we had 9 students from the local county schools, and they are kind of the focus, youth focus for our chamber magazine. We also have the young boy that's on the front of this. He's from Newcastle, Colin O'Farrow, and he is now in college, but he was our intern and helped us do a lot of things. It is a great article and what he says about Newcastle, so you definitely want to take a look at that and how he's working on trying to improve Newcastle when he comes back. So the program did what it was supposed to do, and we're excited about that. It also has articles in here about Miracle League and our career event that we hold in the spring is also in that. So it's a great book to take a look at for the chamber. This past week we did or last week we did a handbag bingo, which was sponsored by Amy Glazier State Farm. If you weren't there, you missed an amazing night. Over 300 women in one room winning designer handbags, eating, and having snacks, and maybe a little bit of wine, probably. And it was a great night, and the money that is raised from that goes towards our scholarship fund. We now support all 5 county schools with a $1,000 scholarship each year from now on. So that is a great event that we were able to have, and it was sold out. We have some great new members that part of the chamber in the last month. Maxwell's, which opened downtown. The new Ink and Ale Brew House that's coming over at the hub. Jack's Donuts Production and Distribution Center, which they'll be going live on Monday. We're excited about that. The Promotion Lab, the Newcastle Henry County Renaissance Festival has joined us. A new photographer, Studio 1534. The IU Health Ball Cancer Center is now a member, along with a Christian Love Help Center. So we're excited to have all those new members with us for this next coming year. Our big event, one big community event is coming up this December 7th, Thursday, December 7th. And if you're not familiar with that, it's the Christmas walk in our beautiful downtown. It now spans from 11th Street all the way to 15th Street and up Main to Church, up 14th Street to the Methodist Church. We also now have included the Elks, and all of them are in that. So this is a great event for the community. We have a few sponsorships that are still open if you're interested in that as a community. We have our trolley ride that's going to be, that is available, and we do have a great surprise this year. We have a merry-go-round that's coming. Free rides for the kids that are there, or adults, I suppose. If you want to ride it, you can also ride that too. Live reindeer will be there, pony rides, of course Santa, characters and different things. Last year we had over 5,000 people that were at that event, so we're looking forward to that, and 120 vendors. So it is a wonderful event. If you've not been to it, come to it. If it's cold, dress up because you'll stay warm, lots of cocoa and lots of food. So if anyone's interested in being a part of that, please let us know. Visit our chamber website and or come see us at the office. So any questions for the chamber?
Oh, it's always a fun event.
I'm sorry?
It's always a fun event.
It is an amazing event.
It is an amazing event.
Yes, I love it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Brian? Joe?
Good morning.
Morning.
Federal aid applications this month, at the end of the month, and I want approval to apply for a bridge that we applied earlier this year. It's a maintenance project, or was. Now it's more of a major thing because we've got to replace the deck. But it's on Bridge 162. It's on South County Line Road, east of Knightstown. It's a 5-span. It's like 240-some feet long. It's a big one. And I need a financial commitment letter approved and signed, and we'll submit this. I'm going to go to the council at their meeting this month and get a supporting letter to go with this for the submittal. So, but it's a good-sized bridge. I'm glad you're sitting down. The construction estimated cost is $2.6 million, but that's in 2030, and that's with 5% added for every year, inflation. So we got to cover ourselves. The prices of construction are going right through the ceiling. NDOT's having all kinds of problems, so we want to make sure that we're covered here.
Hey, could you, Lou? Oh, he has.
The call that was earlier this year in January for the maintenance, NDOT received them all and threw them all out. They didn't have enough money. So they just rejected them all. So now the only federal call is in November so far. We already had one federal aid job on a replacement on 950 East, so we're working on it. But this would make number 2, and we'll have to save up funding to make it happen. It's all taken care of by 80% federal money. All of it, design, right-of-way, utility relocation, and construction and inspection.
So between now and 2030, our total local match will be $690,400.
Yeah, it goes slow.
Yeah, and then it hits 2030, and then it hits up there. Yeah.
And then we get hit with our share of the construction cost, which is 20%. We have to pay that all up front.
You got that in your back pocket, right?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
that's why I said we're going to save up.
Well, I guess we got a couple years to start saving, don't we?
Yes,
Yeah.
we got some time to save up for it.
How quickly do you need this? Right away?
Today,
Well,
by the end of the month.
yeah, by the end of the month, yeah.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the letter of commitment. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Now, the thing is, the council has to approve the funding, so
Yeah,
if it's not in your Cume Bridge Fund.
because I'm going to submit both letters. I'm going to submit your letter, and then I'm going to submit council letter. And the council letter is a supporting letter, because NDOT, the way they describe the requirement for that letter, it's fiduciary body of county government. And look up the definition of fiduciary body of county government. I'll let the attorneys handle that.
He didn't laugh.
Next.
Next.
All right, next. I'm requesting to go part-time next year after first of the year as the engineer. I'll turn 67 this month, and I need to slow down a little bit. So my thoughts were to go work one day here, one day in Randolph, and then a third day, if necessary, I'd work whichever one I needed to work on. Since I'm part-time, I'd be paid by the hour. If I don't work, I don't get paid. Very simple. And I thought I'd use the same hourly rate that I'm getting now, and it'll keep you from having to hire, hopefully, a consultant for all the small bridges and culverts. So, and today, you go hire a consultant, it'll be over $100 an hour, easy, with PE, professional engineer. So and
there's
then
a lot of things
you
that
won't
need to have to go through to get this completed. I guess my comment on whether or not you work part-time with Randolph County, I'm assuming we won't have to have a contract anymore, since you can work whoever you want to on the other days.
the only question that I presented it to both I was able to go to the council meeting this morning over there, but I presented to both, and the only question that came up, Mike Wickersham asked if I use their vehicle for Henry, that they get some reimbursement for the vehicle. is all he's asked. And there won't be any medical, because I'll get medical on my own. Of course, since I'm part-time, I can't get medical through the county.
I guess in my mind, I see part-time as we're no longer contracted or working with Randolph County, because the only way then we went with Randolph County was joint for the reimbursements. And in my mind, if you're going part-time, we don't need to be, and this is just my thoughts, I don't know what the other two think, we would not be the Henry County would not need to be tied to Randolph County in any way.
You're correct, except for the association with the vehicle, is the only thing I can think of. But
And
other than
I guess
that,
I don't, I'd have to think about that one. I mean, I'm not sure why you would have to use Randolph County's vehicle for here. I guess I don't understand. I mean, if there's a valid reason to use Randolph County's vehicle while you're in Henry County as a part-time Henry County employee, I guess I don't see
We
it.
currently do not have one available for me. The truck that I was using that we purchased back in 16 is being traded in on another vehicle, so it's gone.
I guess that's just something we'll have to consider and go over during this
Well,
whole
there's a lot
process.
of, I'll say there's a lot of moving parts
Yeah.
here. We'll have to get started on
Yeah,
the
'cause
actual process.
your job description is going to have to be separated from superintendent.
I have
mean,
an
there's-
old one, but
Okay, yeah. There's just several things that are going to have to be gone through. Maybe we could schedule a work session to kind of go over all of those things. Each of us could, write out what we think needs to change, and we could do a work session. to kinda-
Stephanie said I needed to start right here.
Yes, absolutely. She is corrected. Yeah, she is correct.
All right, well, I appreciate it. Any questions? You do have a new person out here in the audience, hadn't been here before.
Hi,
Braden's
Braden.
here, yeah.
How are you today? I'm doing well, thank you.
Since you're in association with the highway, do you have anything?
Oh,
Ask him what? Where their plates are?
oh, yeah.
Where's your plates?
No, he's one to ask you where your plates
Oh, the one that asked me, go to Indy, they have them. Well, I'm pretty sure I signed a whole bunch of papers to try to get that taken care of.
Oh, okay.
Now, I haven't seen any more.
Do you have him? Oh, okay.
It's one of those things, I thought I had the last four straightened out now, but
It's a nightmare.
well, get with me. We'll see what we can do to expedite it.
All right, thank you.
Well, Steve's standing up. He's waiting on you to.
Steve Rust.
Good morning. I have some contracts here to be signed for a stormwater ordinance and technical standards professional service proposal. I have talked to Joel about them.
This is the presentation that she was here and did, and we, yes.
We finalized everything, just need to get them signed so we can get the project started. And if you got questions, I'll be glad to answer them. If not, I'll give them to Debbie and she can get them signed and get me a copy
We've already
back.
approved it, right?
Yes.
That's all I need.
Yep, we'll sign it.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that was easy.
Yeah.
Tom Green.
This is in the back of 3. I put it in behind 3.
Oh.
In, behind 3, under 3. Oh, he must have. Mhm. Do you want to use my copy, or do you need it?
Can you hear me, Steve?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
It's like, if we have to, we'll get you a stool.
I know. You have before you two resolutions on rezone. Little background on the first one that you see, then that is the location of the development down at 70 and 109 that the hospital is working on. That parcel, a little background on that. That parcel was part of an 80-acre parcel. That whole 80 acres is pretty roughly the area that's surrounded by the green highlighting there. In 1988, 40 acres of the parcel were rezoned from A1 to I2 for a proposed sawmill in the area. That's the area in yellow up at the top. That use never materialized for that site, and it's been farmed ever since. The same 40 acres of that parcel was rezoned from I2 to general business at the request of the Henry County Hospital Foundation in November of 2020. In January of 2021, 40 acres of that area surrounded in green was split into a separate parcel, and that's where the development for the hospital is being done now. When they when they applied that original zoning of I2 in '88, they didn't follow good zoning procedures, nor did they in 2020 when they rezoned it. As per Title I, Section 3.4 of our code, zoning district boundaries, the boundaries of each zoning district as established on the official zoning maps are intended to follow property lines, lot lines, county and state highways, roads, streets, railroad rights-of-ways, streams, and other natural landmarks. We have a number of properties that have had pieces of them rezoned. I brought one or two of those to you in the last couple of months. This is one of those. It's an administrative change to kind of get everything straightened up. The current landowner is aware of this rezone process. This did not go before the Planning Commission. It didn't really need to, as we considered it administrative in nature. So we would like your approval to change the zoning map for that one. And you have the resolution for that there. That is Ordinance 2023-11-08-13, Zone Map Change Proposal Number 466.
What this did was they took a parcel and just partially rezoned part of the entire parcel.
Yes, they rezoned
instead
part of a parcel along an arbitrary line.
I don't need to read all this, do I?
So I will make the motion to approve the zone map change, ordinance number 2023-11-08-13, the zone map change, proposal number 466. Are we changing this to general business as what it is?
Yes, yes.
To general business to match the other part of the parcel?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the zone map change, number 466. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
The,
There has been some complaints about the construction down there, but the dust and what have you.
yes, there have been. There's been other complaints about a number of things.
Yes, water,
We're-
drainage, and
Our, that corner over there of people is aware of the problem. And
okay.
they get a lot of visits down there, and we'll be getting more. The second rezone proposal I have is for a property on US 40 to be rezoned from Ag 1 to, or from HB 1, Highway Business 1, to Ag 1 for an event venue. You have this page, which is a colored page for a reason. HB 1 is the blue area, kind of hard to see because it's covered up with the blue, but in the middle of that is the old Catholic church that was there on 40. And people have acquired that, and they want to turn that into an event venue. And event venues are something that's allowed in agriculturally zoned areas, not in HB1 zoned areas. So the request, and that was approved, as well as the CAU for that event was approved at last month's Planning Commission meeting. So that we'd like to have that rezoned to Ag 1, which, as you can see, is pretty much everything around there anyway. Yeah, so that is ordinance number 2023-11-08-14, zone map change proposal number 467 to rezone this parcel 014-03413-00 from highway business to Ag 1.
I will make the motion to approve ordinance number 2023-11-08-14, zone map change proposal number 467.
Second.
From HB1 back to Ag 1.
I assume since this was already approved by planning and zoning that there was no public.
No.
I don't, if memory serves me correctly, there was no comments either way, and I believe it was passed unanimously.
Yes, it was passed unanimously, and all comments were good.
I have a motion and a second to approve that zone map change number 467. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Don't fall off the stool.
Sense of humor.
Sheriff's Department. Well, that's easy. Auditor.
The only thing we've done is we've sent out fixed assets to everybody for vehicles, and I think as of just a few months ago, we have it all taken care of, but if anybody has any vehicles that have fixed assets, or that they have, they need to let us know. So we can get our list in order.
So for all those who didn't hear, if you have vehicles that are on the fixed asset list, it needs to be given to the auditor immediately.
We are, State Board of Account audits, and if they can't find that vehicle, the auditor gets written up. And if the auditor gets written up, she's not in a good mood. Because it's not her, if it's not, especially if it's not her not providing the information. So, yes.
I don't see anybody from the clerk's office. I don't see anybody from the park.
I don't know who would be in a more bad mood, you or
Jody.
Bobby, if you get written up.
When I have to go downtown and stand in front of the board because it's not done, that's one.
Lisa, do you have anything? I have Gabe. Butch.
Well, it's still morning, so I'll say good morning. Just barely, yeah. What I'd like to do is bring to you, last week, the 911 board selected a new 911 director, and I'd like to introduce you to him. Most of you know him, but officially introduce him to you as the new director for 911. We're in a transition period right now, and we've been working together. Not that we didn't work together before, but we've been working together to bring him up to speed on some of the things that he didn't know about before. And come January the 12th, he'll sink or swim. So this is Brian True, who's been our IT person and has done us a fantastic job. So I just wanted to introduce him to you as the new 911 director.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We all know you, but congratulations with your new title.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Do you have a speech?
No.
Corey, take notes. You're welcome.
Oh, Lordy.
I made Penny laugh.
Mandy, you have anything?
Good morning.
Morning.
Do you want to do this first?
Still?
First, I'm going to take over doing the fuel bids for the county and the city, collecting them all. There was a lot of miscommunication, and then it kind of shut down, and it was going to put a lot of departments on the hook for trying to figure out fuel. I had a meeting this morning, a very productive meeting this morning at the Sheriff's Department, and it's just going to be easier for me to take that on and add each department on there, and then everything's going to go to them. Like, their part is their part. I won't have anything to do with it. I won't bill them, but I will take on the other departments because the amount of gallons that they use is minimal, considering comparable with me and the Sheriff's Department. It's just easier if I just do it. And then I'm going to set up a way so that everyone gets educated so this won't happen again. So if someone, comes to October next year, because this should already been done and posted at this point. So I have a notice to bidders here. If you guys want to look it over, I have a copy. I can give it to you now or after, whichever you want. And it's the only thing that we really changed about this from last year's is I named all the departments. For some reason, and I'm not sure why, and I can't really find an explanation, everything was done under the Sheriff's Department. And then everything was billed to the Sheriff's Department, and then they figured it all out, which is, I was told, and then I would just call out there and say, this is how many gallons I need. And because of that, and I never actually laid eyes on any of this, there was a mistake made just for my department. And my gallons should have went towards regular fuel. Instead, they went towards diesel, which meant we ended up going out of contract, as did they. When if I would have actually seen it or had been a part of it at all, I could have caught it before it happened. So it's just going to be easier this way. It's going to be more transparent. Everyone can see what they're using, and then I'll just send statements to everyone. We already have an account with Co-Alliance, so it naturally is just easier to move it to me instead of having each department go set up an account and then be billed that way. So if it's okay with you guys, I'll just take that over. And then I think we put in here, which we kind of talked about it this morning, we'll try to get everything out and listed by Friday and posted. I believe it's got to be posted 2 places for 2 weeks. This lines up with that, and then have a special meeting to open, and then an hour later to accept. So, because we're about 3 weeks behind. At this time last year, we were getting ready to take your bids, then you opened them, and then all the contracts were signed and turned in by the 5th of December. So if we don't jump on it now, we're going to be to the end of December, and we're not going to lock in a fuel price, which is going to be detrimental, especially to my department, the coroner, EMA, community corrections, and the sheriffs. So.
And that does include the city, right?
Yep. And Brian is gathering some information for that. And the city gets billed separately. That's all separate. I think that was the misunderstanding. We all just put our gallons together and make one big bid. And then that lowers the price per gallon and we lock it in. But then after that, well, Brian does it for the city. Everything, he goes through and filters it. And that's what the Sheriff's Department was doing. So with the email that the sheriff sent out that he wasn't doing that anymore, I just started down the path to see what it would take to do that. And actually, it's not going to be difficult for me because I'm already set up to do it.
So you're looking at this Friday, it'll be posted.
So
it will run through.
And then we'll take bids up until, here, just let me give you guys.
The Middletown News by noon Friday, and it won't be posted until next Thursday. And then don't think they have it paid for the weekend of Thanksgiving, then it'll be the following week after that.
So we will.
But yeah, you just have Middletown News by Friday at noon for it to be in next.
I gotta look at my calendar. So we're going to be looking at a little bit of a
Is Middletown, it's got to be posted in 2 places, does it have to be Middletown meetings?
So get it Friday, it'll go in the 15th, and you said they don't do anything on the week of the 22nd? So it'd be the 30th?
So then the soonest you could accept bids would be the 7th of December.
The 7th of December?
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Did you hear
so-
that? The soonest we could accept bids, they would have to be here by the December the 7th. I know we're cutting it really close.
I'm not sure how we got this far in the year with no one realizing that, but
Yeah. So I guess December the 7th, we could have, if we did, we could have a special meeting on the 7th. I mean, we
Take-
could accept till 8 o'clock on the 8 a.m. on December the 7th. Is that doable? And then we could have a meeting to open them at, I know we could do 9 o'clock, so we can get everything gathered and make sure we're good. And
Okay.
then we could recess the meeting while everybody reviews them, and then re-adjourn about an hour
yeah,
later.
so just change the dates then, so
Uh-huh.
to the 7th.
Yeah.
Have to be in by the 7th?
At 8 o'clock. Do we need to make a motion on that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Approve the notice subject to making change to
Yeah.
December 7th.
so I'll make the motion to approve the notice subject to the change of December the 7th at 8 o'clock, and then we will have a meeting December the 7th at 9 o'clock to open the bids, and then it's just administrative when we get there to a recess. I don't have to make that in a motion. Okay.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to have the bids in by December the 7th for the fuel for the county and the city of Newcastle. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you for taking this on.
Oh, no problem. I'm sorry, Debbie, what day did you say? By Friday at noon?
Yeah, this Friday at
Get it in
noon.
for the next Thursday, okay. Okay, and then the next thing that I wanted to talk about was, I guess if you've been in a hole, you might not know that the situation that's going on with EMS and the transfers and the hospital. And Brian and I came together, and we're kind of talking about, we've both put out statements. A couple of mine have disappeared, don't know how, to try and correct misinformation, but we're taking a lot of heat, both services. One, because it's hard for the public to tell the difference between city and county. So a lot of times I will be tagged, or I'm getting screenshots within minutes of something negative being posted, and they just don't know the difference. So we're trying to clear that up, but then there's a lot of responsibility that is falling on the wrong people, and blame is being put towards the wrong people. And everywhere we go in this county, not these days, especially the last couple of weeks, the people on our trucks, we're taking phone calls, we're getting looks, we're having meetings, and it's all EMS is to blame. It's because of funding, or it's because of this, or whatever. And so we thought it might be a good idea to actually publicly explain what is happening with that, and what the responsibilities are of each person. And no one is necessarily, we don't want to blame anyone or attack anyone, but there are facts that just keep getting left out of conversations to kind of control the narrative of what's going on. And it all turns back, it seems. They all steer it back to EMS did this, and we did not do this. And I know that you guys probably know, even a year ago, I was saying we're going to become necessary sooner rather than later. Every time I've spoke about it, I've said that. It's coming. I've been warning you. He's been warning them. It's not new. It's just, it feels like it snuck up on everyone because no one out there knew it. And it wasn't our responsibility to get that out there. What, you want to say anything?
No, I just want to mimic what Mandy said. We're referencing hospital transfers. This city service has provided the ALS hospital transfers for the last few years, and the county service has provided the BLS hospital transfers. Starting October 1st, the city service, we discontinued that. We did give the hospital 60 days notice, and have worked with Mandy and the county EMS service to try to provide them a local solution. They have that under advisement. Both of our services are taking a lot of heat that we're not doing it anymore. Long story short, we're trying to help them be able to do that. The ball's in the hospital's court.
So, and it's my understanding Newcastle EMS is still doing strokes, heart attacks, and traumas transports out of the hospital.
We will accept those as long as we have the staffing and the
to do
vehicles
so.
available. Our primary goal, like it has always been, is 911 emergency response. Everybody wants an ambulance when they call an ambulance. They don't want to have to be told, hey, sorry, my ambulance is taking somebody from one hospital to another hospital. I'll have to call another county for me to come pick you up from your car crash.
Yeah. And I think the narrative has just been turned towards, one, it was a funding issue. When it was, funding would help, absolutely. It definitely would help us, but on their services side, it's a staffing issue. They are critically low on staffing, and they've been saying that, but they did it as long as they could. And there were people warned. This wasn't something that just, bam, they pulled the trigger and it happened. That side, the hospital never released a statement. One, ensuring people, listen, we're still going to take care of you. We're working through it. None of those things happen. So it seems like we are the logical people to blame, but we're not. This is the only hospital that I can think of that does not pay for its own ALS services for any of those transfers. Every other hospital contracts with one. We were so small, and we were also flush with staff and could do it, that it seemed logical for us to do it. Either there was a time when it was city did one, we did one. City did one, we did one. Whatever it was. And now neither one of us have that kind of staff or that kind of equipment. And at some point, that hospital's going to have to kick in money like everybody else in the country does. It's just, they won't, no one's saying that. It's not that if I could take every patient out of there every time they called, I absolutely would, and so would he. Had nothing to do with the patients, and it is really hard to not just come out on attack mode after you hear it all day, every day. Do better, do better. Or insurance should be paying for these transports. We get pennies. For what we turn in, for what we actually charge, what we get back is pennies on the dollar. The return is almost non-existent at this point, and that's if it's billable at all. And it's so frustrating that we really felt like maybe a public meeting was the time to say, one, we are supportive services of each other. Never in the history of either of these two services has that been possible. We communicate daily. There's not one problem. If they need a truck, they get it. If I need something from him right now, we've got a monitor because we're training on it. These are big, high-ticket that we trust each other with. We have each other's backs. We are training together, A&Rs together. It's never been like that. If there was ever a time for these two services to make this happen, it was now. And we took it to the hospital and said, we understand, you know, you're struggling. And if you want me to go back this much sooner, because I have plans in place. I've sent you and the council that there's an EMS tax. And by 2025, I will need to go in county general to make this happen because it's going to be a necessity. This was a way to make it for them to support us until we got there. And it's not even really being entertained at all. And what they have chosen to do, which they didn't even so much as have a meeting with me face-to-face until I had to call it because of some situations. I have no idea what's going on out there. I don't know what their plan was. We just know we're taking the heat for it, and we're not responsible for it.
And we've tried to provide a local solution to them.
The solution would have been, the only difference for them would have been the phone number that they call to get that transport. City only sent one truck at a time out of town to leave 3 to respond. I would have been that truck. That would have been the only difference. Their equipment, until we could secure our own, the support of them. And I'm going to address a question here because I know it's coming. If they're understaffed and it's critically low, how can I staff that? Because I was going to pay a much higher rate. There's a difference when you go to work and you know when the tones drop, you're going to a call. Do you know how taxing and how much it wears you out if you go to work, the tones drop for a 911, you've been on the interstate dealing with the wreck, jumping up on a semi, and then the tones go out, and now you have to go do a 4-hour round-trip transfer? You don't go with the frame of mind to do both, and you just can't do it. They're worn out. They're understaffed. They're worn out. They can't keep doing it. When you hire in and we say you're not going to do 24-hour shifts, you're going to do 12, we're going to pay you $10 more an hour, this is all you're going to do. So at best bet, you know you may do 1, you may do none, you may do 4. You don't know, but you know it when you come in. We're not changing it up on you.
You're not doing 911
It is a
calls.
difference. It would be like asking anyone here, this is your job right now, and in 5 minutes, it's completely different, go do this job. It's a completely different job. So yes, I did put out surveys. I do know I could hire medics. I confirmed that with them. We were ready, and now it's just, we just want to address that. We gave them an option. No one left them high and dry. They had a clear option. The only difference, a phone number. The care, the protocols, everything. Exactly the same.
Thank you.
See,
I don't think any of the others are here.
nope.
Nope.
Okay. Next up, I have a statement of work contract from
This is,
Steel Insurance.
this is the onboarding, correct, Stephanie, for insurance. They do the onboarding for insurance, is what it is.
Looking if there was any amount here. I don't see one.
Well, it's under, on page 2 under fees, but most of these fees are offset, are paid by Guardian.
Okay.
I think this year we paid, we didn't pay $300 or $400 for it, but most of it is offset by Guardian.
Do I have a motion to approve this contract?
I will make the motion to approve it.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the contract.
Oh, it's actually, that's the statement of work. There's another client.
Well, the
agreement,
statement of
yeah.
work, but were you approving that?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Then we have client services agreement for Steel. Any discussion?
Joel, you've reviewed all of these? Yep, I've reviewed them as well. No, I don't have any. I will make the motion to approve the client service agreement with Steel as well.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to include the other client service agreement with Steel. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. And we have a business associate agreement with Steel. Any discussion?
No, this is, most businesses have to sign these for privacy reasons, HIPAA, make sure that, these are very common. So I'll make the motion for the business associate agreement.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the business associate agreement with Steel. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next up, we have a lot that the county commissioners own out in front of Walmart on Highway 3. We're going to list it for sale. Any discussion?
Susan, do you want to say anything or present anything? It's just the agreements for you to,
Yeah, well, I have the listing contracts. I had emailed those to you. I've got copies here I can pass out again.
no, we do have copies.
Okay. And I think it would just be confirming the price. I know we talked about a range, and I don't know if that's something that, I know you approved that range, so if we do that. And then I also wanted to confirm that it's like before where it goes in front of, it's subject to your approval as well as the council's approval.
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe we landed on between 309 and 319.
Correct.
Is what
I
that
would
was.
go no higher than 319. I honestly, reviewing it, I think the 309.9 is probably a little more competitive, but that's obviously at your discretion.
More is better.
Pardon me?
More is better.
Yeah, I figured you'd say.
Yeah. Well, we can
319.
always go up or down based upon.
Yeah, you can go down.
Offers that we get.
Yeah.
So I will make the motion to approve the listing contract and all associated documentation with it.
I second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Okay, thank you.
Next up, we have a consulting services agreement with Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy. Any discussion?
So this was originally presented at the council meeting. I think Shannon had been in communication with Wagner, Irwin, and Shealing. And this is a contract to provide a complete update of all of the job descriptions for the county. I'm trying to get to where the cost is. I don't remember where. It's $44,000. It's on the second page. Provide a start date of December 1st. I don't know that that's going to happen. It's going to last 6 to 8 months, and we're looking at $44,640. I will say I don't know that we have the money to approve that for this year. I know we don't. Anywhere, do we? Unless we do an additional appropriation for them to get started. And this is really for use for setting pay schedules for the council.
Hate to prove something we can't pay for, but
They can make a proposal to split that up in two separate, timeframes.
Yeah,
Lower the amount so that you pay half this year or next, whenever you pay it, and then half the following year. They can set it up so you can do that. That was an option, instead of doing it all at once.
Okay.
It was an option to do it in two separate segments.
that makes it a little easier to digest anyway.
Yeah, we'll still have to do, I think we'll still have to do additional appropriation this year to pay for the half of it.
And we may not have to pay for it this year.
Yeah, they may not bill it out till next.
I mean, you know, you
Yeah.
may be able to make a deal with them to pay it next year.
Yeah. Because they're not going to, I don't believe they're going to start until, it's not, they're not going to have time to start December 1st. So, I mean, we could make it so that they start January 1st, ask them to start January 1st, and we can pay it next year.
Do I have a motion then?
I will make the motion to approve this pending them being able to start January 1st instead of December 1st. So we don't have to do any more additional appropriations this year.
Second.
And also ask them if they can do it in two. I mean, we can still do it in two or one, but I would say January 1st, 2024.
You see anything wrong with that, Joel? Okay, I've got a motion and a second to approve this,
Pending their approval
pending their
of changing.
approval of changing the date from December 1st to January 1st and possibly splitting the payment into half. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. That's good.
Did you want that split in two payments, or are you just gonna do it all next year together?
We'll prob-
Can't start till next year.
So we'll just do it all next year.
This was if, like, they approved it when she sent us this, they were open, so
Oh.
say they're open to start then anyways.
So we'll just do it all
Have to go into next year.
at once next year. Yeah.
I'd say that's a discussion we'll have with them and see what they say.
Yeah. Because
I-
we'll have everything funded.
I have a maintenance agreement between the Justice Center and
Oh, wait.
that's where it's wrote in.
Oh, is it?
That's what you just did.
Oh, I thought that was the last one under new business. Sorry.
Well, we can go ahead and just do it and get it out of the way.
Okay.
I have two maintenance agreements for the Justice Center, one from Resolve Tech and one from Piney Engineering. Supposed to start, one is effective the end of this month. We approve. Piney Engineering. Do I need to go through each one of these, Joel?
On page
was gonna say there's,
Services and costs.
that's pretty much, basically, equipment to be serviced. There's chillers, air handlers, boilers, heaters, boxes, fans, controls, radiant heaters, AC units, VFD, hot water pump motors, cold water pump motors, relief fans, domestic pumps, VAV boxes, Liebert unit, and mini split. And then there was an inspection and lubrication adjustment agreement. There's 2 pages of this of what they will do. And most of the scheduled maintenance and preventive inspections are supposed to be scheduled between the hours of 7 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. All work other than inspections and lubrication and adjustments, that's normal operation, is a regular rate and on a time and material basis up to $300 per system, if this is approved. The total contract was $22,826 from Piney Engineering. Resolve Tech has quarterly, well, their equipment included the chillers, air handlers, hydrotherm boilers, 1 time a year, the PVI hot water heaters 1 time a year, 38 FPVAVs, 14 exhaust fans, 1 radiant heater, 2 5-ton AC units, 3 VFDs, 2 hot water pumps, 2 cold water pumps, 2 relief fans, 2 domestic hot water pumps, 26 VAV boxes, and 1 Liebert unit. They will perform quarterly inspections and oil and grease all bearings and motors and dampers, visually inspect for leaks, check refrigerant, inspect all controls, inspect and adjust valves, replace customer provided standard efficiency filters, and goes on for several other items. And I don't have a, or there is top, for the total sum of $43,200 a year, payable in 4 quarterly payments of $10,800.
And then they included a second one that had optional coil cleanings and boiler tear down, which is,
Yeah.
Yeah, you got that one.
No.
yeah,
the only difference
it
was-
added coil cleaning in the chiller and replaced suggested yearly boiler maintenance parts 1 time a year, and that was $48,000 with the coil cleanings and boiler tear down. So, looking at it apples to apples, and it's kind of hard to question 22,000 versus 43 or $48,000. So I will make the motion to approve the Piney maintenance agreement for the year.
Second.
I have a motion second to accept Piney Engineering Service Agreement for the Justice Center. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Okay, now I have ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 2023-10-8-012. For the Henry County Treasurer's Ordinance imposing a charge for return checks and for copying duplicate bills. For all duplicate bills is a 10-cent per page duplicated. For all return checks to the Treasurer's Office by the bank, regardless of the reason for such return, a fee of $27.50. All revenue received from the charges set forth in this ordinance shall be placed in the technology fund for the Treasurer's Office. And basically, it's whereas Henry County Treasurers has frequent requests for duplicate bills, which must be prepared by the Treasurer's Office at expense to the office and/or the county. And whereas the Henry County Treasurer receives many checks which fail to clear the bank, which makes additional work for the office and are also an expense to the county. Whereas the County Treasurer wishes to implement a charge of $27.50 for all returned checks. Any discussion?
I will make a motion to approve ordinance 2023-10-8-12.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this ordinance. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next, I have resolution for the ARPA fund, which is just line, somebody help,
30.
line 30.
30 and 31.
Line 30 is the sum of $65,000 for the acquisition of 5 vehicles for Hamilton County Sheriff's Department for use by the Sheriff's Department, pool vehicles, or for reserve officer use. The vehicles to be acquired, corresponding purchase price follows: a 2024 Explorer for $15,000, 2018 Explorer for $12,000, another 18 Explorer for $12,000, a 17 Explorer for $11,000, and another 18 Explorer for $15,000. And the remaining sums of the coronavirus physical recovery fund shall be used for the repair and improvement of county-owned buildings. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 2023-11-08-20-022.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. We already did the other two. Okay. I have a conflict of interest disclosure statement. The title position of government entity of Sergeant Merritt Duff, Biddy with the Sheriff's Office. Blake Thrasher. Any discussion on this?
You know, he has a side business doing upfitting of vehicles, so because he's employed, he has to have a conflict of interest. So I will make the motion to approve the conflict of interest.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Then I have one for GIS address change notification. Angie, would you like to explain this?
Okay, so part of my job is assigning addresses for the county for 911. And so I've come across a few of them that are really incorrect, and so they could impede EMS getting there in a timely manner. So I have to change them, and I haven't been able to find any forms that were ever sent out in the past to people when their addresses had to be changed. So I created a new form to send out. I've got it approved by the U.S. Post Office. I think Tom's seen it, Brian's seen it. And I just didn't know if it's something that I had to have approved by you, or if I could just start sending it out when I need to.
I'll make the motion to approve the change of address notice.
Okay.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
We don't have any of, so the next one is because we're awaiting, so the bids for the maintenance garage. We have received 2. I'm still waiting on the third, and because of the dollar figure, are we required to have 3 or just attempt to get 3? Okay.
Solicit 3 contractors, so.
Okay, so, and I know you all have seen the one from, and I don't have it, do you have it in your, I may have it in my, the latest Taylor quote, I don't have it with me. It's the, I have it on my desk, if we can chill for a second.
I could play the Jeopardy music, but I don't.
So we had received 3 before, but we needed to get an update because of the delay that happened. Taylor Construction did update their quote. It's $186,750. That includes tear down and rebuild and the finish. I was waiting on an update from Quality Builders and hadn't received that. And I think you had received one from American Steel.
Yes, and theirs did not include tear down. Theirs was just construction of the building itself. So there was a lot of other costs that would have been added into that.
Yeah, theirs was only like $51,000.
Yeah, it was just the structure
Just the
itself.
structure. So I guess with that, I will make a motion to approve Taylor Construction to tear down and rebuild and finish out the Henry County Maintenance Building for $186,750.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Question of the enterprise lease.
Unlike Butch, I have to say good afternoon. I think I got everything that was requested from the very last meeting emailed out to everybody. So to answer the questions you may have further, this is Chris. He's our new representative that replaced Nicola. So you guys have anything or?
I personally just got the email this morning. I haven't had a chance to actually go over it and review what it says. I still have a lot of the same concerns on the amount of payment that we're making on vehicles that we can buy and or finance, because to me I feel like we're beating this thing into the ground. My concern has always been you guys needed more vehicles. And I thought our goal here was to try to get you more vehicles.
Correct.
The lease only gives you 4 vehicles.
Correct.
Part of the financing part that we were looking at was to give you somewhere between 8 to 12 vehicles, depending on how we did it. And I know your counter discussion was we still had maintenance cost, and we were trying to get away from that. My concern was in a perfect world, if you got into a rotation, then the quicker the rotation, the lesser the maintenance cost is going to be to you.
Correct.
And then the last discussion that we had was the fact that it was expressed by council and by you that you didn't want to be a fleet manager, which I understand. But I don't see, even with us doing the lease, someone's still, because you're only leasing 4 cars.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody's still going to have to manage the rest of those.
The goal would be to eventually move to, so with financing, yeah, 8 to 12 would be perfect, but then we're looking at 6 to 8 years worth of financing on that initial purchase. So it's not going to get us into a rotation.
Have you gotten documentation on all of that?
He even provided me with some at the last meeting that pushed it out to.
Well, I know what citizens have given you, but have you researched that to come back and say, this is what this bank would do, this is what this bank would do, so we have apples to apples or oranges to oranges, or
No,
whether we go apples or oranges?
I reached out to the bond bank. All they required from us was some more information as far as number of vehicles and things like that. But at that point, we're still paying interest. So no matter how we split this, we have to pay extra on top of. The perfect world is we buy 8 cars a year because we have money. We're flush with cash, and this takes care of itself. But we're not there yet, obviously. And hopefully one day, long after maybe I'm gone, the county will be in that position. So with the lease, what we were looking at was this was a chance to try it with 4 cars, to have the money to stay within what the council budgeted, because they wanted to take our portion of the funds from, I guess it's lit, and then we're low it, was 64 and change. Working with the council, who's had previous experience with doing this, being Shannon, this would be a good way to spend the money that they provide us. This gives an opportunity to see if this is something that is worthy in the future, because we're into 4. We've actually set up now that at the end of 4, there'd be no money owed on these cars. Within this 4 year, if it's not a good thing, if it turns out that it's not a good partnership between us and them, those 4 cars are ours, just like if we had financed them through somewhere else. And it would give us the opportunity to see if this is even something that's viable.
I was like, I guess my other concern is that, and maybe I'm looking at this differently, so you help me here. We're doing 4 cars.
Correct.
We're financing basically, it's a lease to own.
Correct.
For basically 4 years.
Correct.
So then the money the county council has set aside is going to make those payments basically for the next 4 years, correct?
That is absolutely correct. That's what I was told. Now, I guess they get to do their budget sessions every year, but I was told up front that they had the support to continue this for the 4 years.
Okay, so then next year, the money that you're going to get from the council is going to make the payment on the 4 cars.
And you're going to ask me, what are we going to do about new cars?
There you go.
That was my question. I was told as that year rolls into.
See, this is what freaks me out about this whole thing, because it doesn't make a hill of beans sense anywhere, no matter how you slice it, dice it, or kick it.
If we finance cars on the 64,000, we're in the same spot. I've asked the same thing. I'm like, great, we need cars next year. We're working on that. I guess there's some things that was put into lit this year. The council can speak to that they hope will not, or either not be there, as far as I think they're expanding or spending a lot of money housing juveniles.
Because it just seems like now you're going to be locked in, you're going to have 4 cars for the next 4 years, and that's all you get.
Which is exactly what we always financed anyway, was 4 cars for the next 4 years.
We never financed
4
them.
cars a year, we always.
We purchased them.
We
Yes,
purchased them,
purchased
excuse,
them.
I meant budgeted, that's what
So-
the council always budgets, so it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
But luckily with the
Not
200,000
getting
that you
anywhere.
guys are gracious enough to give us to ARPA, that's going to allow us to really put 8 cars into service next year, and with these backup. So yeah, I had the same question, and I was told that there will be money for more cars subsequently on top of this
By who were you told that to?
by the council. I had the same.
They have a crystal ball that they know what's going to happen next year, and the next year, and the next year?
I'm relaying you what was told to me.
I know, absolutely. I'm just making, it's a
I wanted the same answer.
rhetorical question, Matt. They have a crystal ball that they can see what's going to happen next year and for the next 4 years every
My
year.
immediate concern is this would allow us to take 4 cars out of service next year that are going to have to go. It'll luckily put us 8 cars into service for the year. And like I said, if we turn out it's not a good partnership, at the end of the 4 years, there are cars just like they would be if I went to the bond bank and financed them, and we can keep them, trade them. It'd be solely our discretion.
And I just want to add on the enterprise side, we're not payment driven, and a lot of this is talking about the money on each year to pay for the vehicles. We could set these up. I mean, even if you wanted to pay cash, the idea of the leasing just allows you to get more vehicles. I know we talked about more of the traditional finance versus doing the market value finance, which means there's a residual at the end. A lot of entities do that because they can get more vehicles, but at the end of the day, we're vehicles with the partnership. So I just wanted to clarify that however you guys want to pay for it, that doesn't
Managing
change.
the rest of the fleet does come at a cost.
Which obviously is something the sheriff's department would have to look at to see if we can budget and pick up, because what is it per month per vehicle roughly? Nicola told me at one time.
For the maintenance on the whole fleet, it's $6 a month just for the tractor maintenance.
Right.
And then the new vehicles, as they come in, has the
$6 per month per
The
vehicle.
management fees included the new vehicles as they come in. From the rest of the fleet,
Currently
it's just
owned
the
vehicles.
It's just the maintenance, yeah. That's
But
what
like I
helps
said,
us track
that would
it.
be something
What
we
does
could.
that cover, that $6 a month? What does the county
Oh,
get
wow, I
for
want to
that?
get my vehicle maintenance for $6 a
You
month.
don't
You better
get
wanna
maintenance,
come.
you still pay for the maintenance.
Well,
Where did I go?
What it does is because Enterprise Holdings, the company, we don't do our own maintenance. We actually outsource it, so we get the discounts on pricing for labor and parts. So essentially, you guys would, because right now it's being outsourced to those vendors that are already in our system. So as those vehicles get serviced, we're collecting that data to help make better recommendations to the county of when to replace it. So
So you're getting
they're just
paid $6
oversight.
per month per vehicle to do what?
Provide oversight and collect the data. We just want the data on the vehicles so we know the proper time to
And
replace
then the
this.
county still pays for oil changes, tires, blah, 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 blah,
But
blah,
you'd
blah,
get,
blah.
yes, but you
So
get,
we're paying you $6 to tell us where to go?
No. They already have a network of
Correct,
providers.
correct. It's already included, it's already
I don't
involved,
get
yeah.
this, you don't get the same price at Jiffy Lubis like the county does.
Probably not.
I can tell you don't. Because I take my car there to get service to the sheriff's department, and they won't. So basically, they also have a leasing side to their company. So they have vendors already that they're discounted at, that we don't get, that's what also would come with that $6.
But the idea here,
But
big picture, is
that
this.
would be completely, that would be outside of that, because those are currently owned vehicles. The only thing that we're talking about is the
And that's included vehicles
leased
too.
vehicles
Yeah.
through Enterprise.
Right.
And that's at the 63. And
Right.
Now, that option is the complete payoff at the end of the 4, not basically the usage, which was what? About 4,000 to 5,000 less.
Right, yeah.
So that 64, that 63, almost 64 number, that is at the end of the 4 years, there are no money owed to anybody
100%
at the end.
vested
100%
for
financed.
the county.
basically, it's $64,000 a year for 4 years.
Correct.
And seeing, I guess that's where, it's basically $250,000 for 4 cars.
Which is what if we just had $250,000 to buy 4 cars.
So, well, but the thing is, we were buying cars, some of them that we found were a lot less money, and even you said you could get them cheaper than what I showed you was for the 44.8. For the Explorers, you said you could get cars even cheaper than that, so.
We can get Durangos for 41, which is exactly what we're paying. Now, you also have to remember, inside that price with the lease, that's an upfitted vehicle. That's all the outfitting we pay, the $7,000 to $8,000, plus the stripes, plus everything. So when these vehicles come in, they're ready to be put on the road. We put our radar on them and our radio. That doesn't require me to do anything further. Which, when we purchase cars outright, obviously that's on us to deal with the upfitters and those things.
Well, I still wrestle with this one because that just seems like,
It seems like every time we talk about it, something else is thrown into the wrench to confuse it, whether it's maintenance or this car or that car. I haven't seen the new documents. I know Joel has. I haven't seen, Joe, have you read the documents that were received today?
I've just been reading what's been going back and forth between Chris and Joel.
But you haven't read the agreements themselves or the documents themselves, have you?
Not
I guess
the
that's a
latest
question,
one.
not a, you have or have not. I haven't had an opportunity to go over them either.
because, personally, I'll be honest with you, I don't give a crap whether you lease them or you buy them. I just want you to have the cars. If you need them, you got to have them. And I know that you're not doing this for free, because if you did, your company would go broke. So you're going to make money. So at the end of the day, that's what this is. Now, is it worth that additional cost to the county for us to do this? That is what I'm not sure of, because some of those, when we were talking about financing, was 8 cars for 3 years for $30,000 a year. You got 8 cars, and you had them for 3 years, and that's, to me, a 3-year rotation is a pretty good deal. So, and I guess that's where I'm confused that we're not, I'm wrestling with this, because it just, from a financial standpoint to the county.
And everybody I've talked
Every
to,
3 years is roughly $110,000 a year. If we just pay, that's base price on the $41,000 for the vehicle, not anything else.
Well, it's like, the paperwork I got you was $33,000, I think, for the 8. I thought it was.
Per month,
Well, it shouldn't have been per month. You
they're
got-
$41,000 a piece to buy, and you
Well,
buy 8 of them, that's
Well, so
$300,000.
whatever that paper was that I gave you, so.
That wasn't for 8.
so I think we're going around in circles. Everybody I have talked to about this has warned me about going into a leasing agreement. Then we went from the sheriff not wanting to lease, and we declined it. And then for some reason, all of a sudden, it came back up that now everybody's wanting to lease again. So
I can tell you why it came back up, because we're trying to work within the money we were getting.
I guess I just don't know how, it's just a little bit confusing. I mean, we've gone in circles for months on this. Sheriff didn't want to lease, then he wants to lease, whether it's a good deal, whether it's a bad deal, if it's this money or that money, and now we have additional maintenance or potential that they can do fleet management, and it's just getting confusing to me. I'm
I'll
just
say,
gonna
and
put it
I
out
still
there.
have the concern of what you're gonna do next year.
Well, whether I finance cars or something, that concern's gonna be here no matter what.
Well, I know.
When we walk out of this room, whether we decide that we're gonna buy them ourselves, or we're gonna lease them, or we're gonna finance through the bank with the cheapest rate, that concern's still there. That's a concern year over year.
But the only problem I have is, you know, you're doing 64,000 roughly a year for the next 4 years, and unless the council's gonna do 128,000 next year, so you can lease 4 more.
Which would be still less than they used to do.
But
And then the next
third
year-
it goes another 60.
And then the
By
next
year
year-
4, 5, or 6, this starts to cost the county a crap load of money.
It does no matter how we do this. Oh, there's a cheaper way?
Well, I mean, if we're buying different cars, maybe, I don't know. I mean, and
We have,
Everybody I have talked to that said the first 3 years leasing is good. It's when you get to year 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's when it's an exorbitant amount of cost to the county. So, you know, and we're not trying to be adversarial here, Matt.
Okay.
We're not.
I'm just telling you,
I mean,
at
we
this
ha-
point,
we
we'll
a
have
job
no
to do.
vehicles
You
to
have a
put in
job to do.
service next year.
It's not adversarial
Okay.
at all. It's just questions.
If this is the best way for the county goes, to go some other route, that's fine. I'm okay with it. I can just tell you, we've pushed this down to the wire, so there's probably not gonna be vehicles put in service next year, unless we come up with something, because, for one, we're gonna miss our orders. That's okay.
Well, you are getting 5 vehicles. I know
Huh?
they're used, but you are getting 5 vehicles.
Correct, that you said we could use as pool cars and reserve cars.
Well, actually, well, yeah.
That doesn't help the 4 patrol vehicles I need to move out.
Well, it was presented to us as reserve vehicles.
and
It was
that's-
not presented to us to use for,
I know, but I can only go by what you just.
well, and
approved.
I understand that.
I had nothing to do with presenting that, so. All right, like I said, I just brought Chris here.
Possibly be
If you
a
guys
need.
had questions to answer them. I don't know what else to
What-
give you guys.
What was the end result on the cars we were trading in? What kind of, were we looking?
It was in the email.
We haven't had
seen
the
it.
opportunity to
I got
read
it
it.
this morning, so
We
I
got
hadn't
it
had a
this
chance to-
morning.
The fair market values you're talking about, right? That was,
Whatever.
it was,
they were-
that was before this one. That was like, I think, almost, it was just after your last meeting.
I think
sent
this
that one.
last email was a.
Batting. That was the recent
email that
email.
went out last week had the fair market value attached.
Yeah, we haven't seen any, we haven't had the
Okay, I
opportunity
got
to read any of those.
Right, and just to kind of, I know this kind of overlaps a little bit, but to your point, I agree that you do have to decide if it makes sense to pay to have a partnership with the fleet management. And that's all we're trying to do, is to help lower the county's cost of ownership with working with the fleet management. Part of that is the resale piece and helping take care of that. Obviously, we buy and sell a ton of vehicles every year, so we take that into consideration too. I don't know how you guys appropriate those funds, but you can use that to roll into new vehicles, to lower payments. That's what we do with a lot of other cities, towns, and counties that we work with. It's not required, it's your money, but that's one way to help reduce payments. And also the market value finance side as well. Instead of having a zero balance, you could lower it. So we can, my point on the enterprise side, I know there's kind of a separate thing going on here, but on the enterprise side, we can work this however you guys want. It's just a matter of, do you want fleet management, right? I think that's the kind of the point you're trying to get to, is we're just trying to help lower the overall costs. And to answer your question on like how we get paid, there is on the new vehicles that come in, there is a monthly management fee that's built into that pricing that he already had. It's 0.10% of the capitalized price. We're very transparent about that. And then when we go to sell a vehicle, it's $400 fee for us to sell a vehicle. Outside of that, there is no additional costs other than the maintenance piece from where we make money. Outside of that, we're just trying to help. We look at it from a volume standpoint with all of our counties, and when we look at vehicles we can get through the manufacturers. So to his point, we're just trying to order through the manufacturer because that's the best. I mean, you're getting the same price if you were to do. We're offering all the incentives, so nothing's changing. We're not charging more from that standpoint. So, sorry, I probably answered 3 maybe questions there. I'm trying to cover some of the bases, but there's a specific question you have on the fleet management side. I can definitely help answer that.
So once the cars that you're wanting to take out of service.
Mhm.
You're based,
Recoup costs by putting those, they can now put them to auction. There used to be some pretty strict rules
Right.
about how they could get rid of government vehicles. That has since changed in July 1. So
Right.
they'll be able to put them in just like with their other vehicles to try to get the best price.
It's the same infrastructure that we have on our rental cars that we sell. They're kind of put in that same pool, so we can typically get pretty good pricing on those.
and I realize it's an auction and you don't have a crystal ball either, but what kind of money do you think?
Because all of these are older, 150,000 or above. I don't think any of them hit 200,000 or 250,000 in miles,
We
if I
have
saw the list
two-
correct.
You have two over 200. They're pool cars at the moment. Well, one's a reserve car, one's a pool car.
That you're getting rid of? I saw.
It depends. If we have something to replace it with, we will.
Well, you're going to have 5.
Yeah, when those, I hope those will come sometime December or there shortly thereafter.
Well, it was just the original documentation where you listed
you
all of
have
the
the original
vehicles.
List
There
of,
was,
fair
there was,
market values?
I don't
Yeah.
think anything over
He's got the list of
150.
fair market values for our current fleet.
Yeah, I think I got that in the email. I didn't see anything over 200,000 miles listed.
It's because that was done in April. The reserve car, I think that Tahoe has over 200, and I'm pretty sure the Landon's old 18 Charger just hit over 200. Let me see real quick. The Tahoe won't be on here because it's.
So that, none of that updated information was given to us with the new round of documentation that we were given.
This is what was sent.
That was attached to the bottom of the email that you received. As I-
Well, I haven't seen it today. Today?
No, it was sent
No.
last week.
Yeah, it didn't have any 100,000 miles or above on it.
It had 185,000 was the highest
That
mileage
one's the
vehicle.
200 now.
So
Yeah, these are values that were given at the beginning of the conversation, so it could be.
So it hasn't been
2 or 3.
updated to today, or
No.
last week, or last month? It was from April. Okay.
I don't have the update. I'd have to.
From the original list
Luckily,
that we
we
got.
had a department meeting and everybody's there, so I was able to pull miles from the cars at that point.
I'm sorry?
We had a department meeting, so we had every vehicle at one place at one time, luckily in April or May, whenever I pulled all that mileage. But the value between 185,000 to, we're talking 1,000.
Well, and part of this too is the vehicles that we're ordering through the manufacturer won't arrive until probably spring or early next year anyway. So the whole point is we know that mileage is going to continue to increase on those vehicles. So if you're already close to on some, realistically, those could be 200,000 miles in March. Okay.
Matt, were there 19 vehicles that you've officially parked on the back row and taken the insurance off of it?
Say it one more time, sorry, Joe.
Were there 19 vehicles that you've parked in the back row someplace and taken the insurance off of them?
That sounds about right between us, and I think Bramer's are quite a few out of county highways or not. Yeah. So before we moved to this building and we started our own junkyard, we, as you were familiar, we put them all at county highway, out of sight, out of mind for us, but not them.
So
Yeah, there's vehicles everywhere.
Yeah, we have, I mean, we started the process to auction all those off, but none of the sheriff's vehicles were included because nobody responded, so. We had an avenue to auction those off online, which is gonna happen probably December. But we didn't get any information from the sheriff's department to include.
'cause we, I mean.
So I'm
we
guessing
want
you're gonna
those-
include those to auction, is that what you're saying?
No, but it will, I think it was a Durango, just turned 115,000 miles. In the place where we get our government, they offered us $7,500 in trade on it. I took it down to Russ Hubler and they offered us $14,000. Because when we trade them in at government, we don't seem to quite get as good a price because they're kind of doing us a favor.
So did you trade it in?
We did, we absolutely did.
I think that's the one we had the title.
Yeah, that's the one you guys,
Oh,
you
just
got the
this
top, so we use ARPA money. We were looking at, we picked up a $40,000 truck to be used, and we were looking at a $38,000 truck from,
So what kind of a
Like-
trade-in on these vehicles is Enterprise giving? Are they giving $14,000 or $15,000?
I think that one was quoted at,
20,000?
hang on, I'll tell you.
See, these are the things, because I haven't had an opportunity to read the documentation from today, that,
Because we don't know. We've seen them.
I think they had this at 17, nope. that's not it. Yeah. That one's at 12. They're on
Well,
their estimate, it's 12, which is still way above 750.
And we purposely put conservative numbers when we're get the list of vehicles because they're sight unseen for us. And so when we go to sell them, we're taking the market in consideration if something were to happen. So typically we go sell them for more than what we're estimating because we haven't seen the vehicles. We're just going to base off of year, make, model, VIN, and odometer.
Okay. Like I said, I tried to bring him here to try to answer as many questions as we possibly could. I know this has been going on for many, many months.
Well, because everything keeps changing.
So here's what we're looking at.
2 months ago, it was we didn't want to lease, now we want to lease.
Sorry, ma'am, I didn't.
Because things have changed, it went from this is why, and then we were making changes with the, this is why, and then we were making changes with the agreements and getting them straight, and then the sheriff didn't want to lease, and so that delayed it, and then it's bringing back, and then there's more questions, and now we have documents that we haven't had the opportunity to see.
Okay.
I understand it's been going on for months and months and months. It's not at the, there's no intent to purposefully do something for months and months and months.
Okay, well, I just tried to get you everything you asked for last time, so if there's something else you need, just, let me know.
Because ultimately, at the end of the day, we're trying to get you as many cars as we can and have a way that you can keep, because this obviously has been going on, and it's nobody's fault, it's just lack of funding. This has been going on for decades. We needed to get into some sort of rotation to where you guys constantly had newer vehicles. Every few years you were rotating at least part of your fleet, so you kept newer vehicles that were lower mileage, and this also would in turn save on maintenance costs.
Correct.
And let me get a little bit of a clarification, and this will be more on your end, I guess. Because your wear and tear stuff, general maintenance, is not covered under any kind of warranty that would come with the vehicle. So like tires, brakes, shocks, stuff like that, the county's still going to have to pay for, correct?
As far as like a new vehicle coming in? Or
Yes.
Now, a new vehicle coming in, we're going to get the same warranty, 3 or 36,000. I think it's 6-year, 100.
So that covers what he's asking, that covers
Yeah.
brakes.
But as far as oil changes, brakes, and tires,
Those things are not
that's why we
covered.
have a separate line within, because in our budget, because those are things we use every year. I think it's like called
Because
lube,
most maintenance
something.
agreements don't cover
Correct.
tires,
Yeah,
shocks,
we're going to do
brakes.
the general maintenance. Like if we run through tires, we're going to buy them. If we need oil for it, if we need brakes or rotors, that'll be on us. Then, as far as they go, just like with my vehicle sitting out there, anything else that goes wrong with that is covered by Dodge, Stellantis. It goes back to the dealership to be serviced until it falls out of their warranty, and then all that, then those shocks. All that stuff, once it goes under that warranty, like on our 2018s, for example, or our 2016 that we still have in service, every bit of maintenance that happens on that 2016 is us. There's nothing, nobody's covering anything.
Maybe you should have called Car Shield.
I missed that. I should call what?
Car Shield.
Oh, I will give them your number and let them call you about your vehicle going out of maintenance. That's what I'm saying. I will make sure you get those phone calls. All right.
I'm not sure what to do at this point because like I said, I haven't had a chance to go over the agreement that you got today, but this does give some clarification on some of the things that I have because I had several concerns here that you've answered part of those. I'm just trying to figure out how we get you these cars. Because you're still, the ideal situation is you want to be away from being fleet maintenance manager, basically.
Unless we can add that into my job description to Wagner Early and Shielding, and I could get some, that's not how it works.
Well,
I mean, you can add things to the job
I'm just
description, that
kidding.
doesn't mean that it's going to be.
I've said to all those meetings, and that's why I said that. It has nothing to do with,
And there's obviously more than that too, right? We help with acquiring the vehicles to the manufacturer, the logistics of the upfit, the resale, a lot of logistics that we help with as well. So I know there's kind of two things here. Other than that, like, it doesn't matter to us how you guys want to pay for it. Like nothing has really changed there, right? I mean, you can do cash, you can do traditional finance, like we'll structure however you guys want. I think for my side, it's just a matter of if you want to move forward using fleet management company, and then we can work through the finance side, however.
4, 5, 6. I just,
Hopefully there's not 5 or 6.
or whatever it is, 3, 4, whatever it.
1 through 4.
I mean, well, it is going to, well,
No, we're still going to need cars in year 5, year 6.
I understand, yeah.
And
I understand.
there's,
I'm just still,
whether
I am just still.
whether we reach out
I understand.
and go to the bond bank and finance them, or we
understand.
go through enterprise, that question's still looming.
I
I
understand.
mean, I asked, that was my first question is, okay, you gave us $64,000 to work with in this budget.
Then,
What about next year?
yeah.
Because, it's normally been like 159 or something like
That's
that.
right.
But there were some other things that needed to be paid for apparently, so we took our hit and we're trying to work within that. And like I said, I looked at this as an opportunity to see if this is a viable thing. Because by the time next cars come around, if this isn't, then we don't lease anymore. Just like if financing isn't a good thing, we're not going to know till the end of that term of financing.
I just don't think I have enough information yet that I'm comfortable with the changes. I haven't seen the stuff that's come today for me to make a motion.
Can
one
I
way
ask
or
you
the
another
other.
question?
You can ask me whatever you want, sir.
A hypothetical thing.
Yes. Well, hypothetical. Now, come on.
Well, the vehicles that were taken out of service will save some money because you can't sell those with those equipment on there, correct?
Correct. So potentially in 4 years, yes. Where we're taking vehicles out of service now, no, because like a vehicle that's coming out of service is a 16. So the one thing is we're trying to do is get all into one of the same vehicle. Does that make sense? Because just like with anything else, there's a little bit of difference between each OEM manufacturer, whether you buy a Ford, a Dodge, or a Chevy. So the vehicles purchased this year were all Dodges. The vehicles we're looking to purchase next year are all Dodges. So that will allow us to bring some of that equipment over, where we pay labor instead of new cost plus, if that makes sense.
It does.
So as we get into this with a fleet of basically the same vehicles, yes. Because luckily LEDs, when I first hired on, we had halogens and strobes that burn out. I'm sure Joe had the old rotators that made all the noise. These LEDs tend to last a lot longer just because they don't burn out. So yes, there is the potential as we move forward to reduce our upfitting costs. Granted the fact that we're offsetting the fact that everything's going up. So, and that's, I think you guys did the agreement earlier because we've been using Blake because he's half the hourly rate, which makes our dollar go a lot further.
Well, at this point, I would entertain a motion, no matter what it is. I mean, if we don't have enough information, we want to review what Joel got today, then I don't have a problem tabling it.
This is
for
what
now.
because we spend so much time in a public meeting discussing this when it really should be discussed in a work session where we can throw things out, where we can have numbers, where we can do calculations, because this is more complicated than just a business associate agreement, because things have changed. In my mind, the information that started with it's just gone all
And
over
let
the
me
place.
ask you another thing, is what you just alluded to, Matt. What happens if, because basically what you just said was, going by that, you're going to try to stay with the same brand of vehicle.
Correct.
Okay, what happens in 4 years if that model changes enough that all these things don't retrofit back and forth? Or if that price of that vehicle gets so much higher that he can get you a different brand of vehicle for, let's say, $10,000 a piece cheaper, then what do we do then?
It's the same thing we're in now. Like if we purchased Durangos with our money this year, county money, and purchased these vehicles.
Yes.
If in 4 years from now, that vehicle doesn't exist and the equipment is not being able to use, we would go to the same thing. We'd have to purchase new again. Just like with any other position we're in before we buy them or lease.
We can help with that as well. I mean, that's part of the partnership is we're looking at that every year with the manufacturers and what's going on and what the resale. And that's why at the 4 or 5 year mark, capitalizing on the equity, 'cause sometimes the resale difference can make up for the difference in outfit. So that's stuff that we help with as well.
No, so that's why I was wondering, because a light bar is a light bar, basically.
Correct.
Mounting would be different, so could you not just use different mounting to put it back on and use the same light bar? Those are the things I guess I was curious, even though you change breeds or models or whatever.
Yeah, it all depends obviously on the manufacturer. We can't we've kind of gotten away from light bars just because of the cost. They cost more than the lights inside the vehicle. I mean, that's really the reason. So, and I don't see, it's really, the upfitting's never been the price, or it's never been what held us up. It's always the vehicles themselves. Because there's been other avenues in the past that you guys are aware of, or other funds have been used when enough wasn't given or allowed in the budget to continue getting the upfitting done. It's always the acquisition of the vehicle itself, because that's the biggest price point. Does that make sense? So it's not come down to we haven't got a vehicle because we couldn't upfit it. It's we haven't got a vehicle because we can't afford a vehicle.
Well, and like I said, I was just looking at what vehicle,
Correct.
4 vehicles, you're at $40,000, you're almost the price of depending on the breed of vehicle, you could almost purchase another vehicle with that cost. So if we have 20 vehicles sitting out there with lights on them that you can retrofit, you're saving that money and you're still getting another vehicle at that point, or possibly another vehicle.
Close to.
And that has been done. We just did it with one of our for example, we just had a 2021 that was wrecked. We just replaced it with a 2023, and we were able to salvage all but like, I think the side running lights and the front lights and put into the new vehicle. So we had labor on removal and installation and those 2 components to purchase, and it was completely cheaper. But I'm sure you guys are dragging on and want to go to lunch, so I'll stop talking.
I don't know if Joel has another meeting to get to. Okay, you're good. Okay. You know, I'd hate to keep you from going in front of a judge and you get fined in contempt.
We don't have room for you, so don't come out there.
What's everyone's pleasure? Do we want to have a work session to discuss all the finer details? Is that what we want to do?
Yes. Because we keep having these long discussions in public meetings.
And would you be available for that also?
Yeah, I definitely want to be there.
I guess we'll have to look at schedules. Joel, you would not need to be there, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at the agreements, and I think the agreements accomplish what you discussed with paying it through the term and having, if the payment dollars is the right amount, I think the structure of that, the agreement will provide for that, so.
That's what I gathered from reading your emails. I gathered that we had received the information that we were asking you to research.
And that, I was saying, one of those questions that was answered was the fact that those vehicles are owned by you guys when it's done, and we're not, there wasn't a set cost of them going if you chose to keep them at the end of that term.
No. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the vehicles are owned by us throughout the whole term.
True, but
there's no fee, but they're paid off, so there's no fee left to give to enterprise. There's, I guess, or if we did fair market, there could potentially be, obviously some money left over, but on the second option, that would be the case.
like the second option.
It's fully financed.
Yes, they're yours.
Correct. Well, they're not mine, they're yours.
Well.
Because they say county commissioners on them.
So just in case anybody's wanting to know what I'm responding to, I had a 1 o'clock appointment in Mount Summit, and she's sitting there, so I am letting her know that I am running late.
We'll wrap this up. Let's set up I don't know what your schedule is. If we can pick a time here in the next day or so, we can set up a work session to get all this hashed out so we can get this done.
I guess it depends on when you're looking.
Schedule.
And then
Sounds good.
We'll see what we can do, and you would be available.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Then I guess I would make a motion that we table this for now.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. Next, we have discussion on the chamber wanting to use the courthouse during the Christmas walk. Do you want to briefly discuss what we're talking here?
Lisa had spoke with us she's on our committee for the Christmas walk, and I think they were wanting to, no, she's gone. Just have the downstairs kind of open for warming or whatever. We do have a lady that would play a hammered dulcimer in there the whole time it was open. And she said something that might have to be manned by somebody from the county or what have you.
Well, we have always opened up the basement for people to come in and use the facilities, men's room, ladies' room.
Yeah.
the way it was presented to me is the chamber was wanting us to have, to put a choir on the stairs and have vendors here on the first floor, potentially. It says, the chamber committee will find us a choir or someone to sing on the interior steps. We can pass out cider and donuts or cookies if we can get 2 to 4 people to man the table during the event. The chamber suggested we have elected officials, office holders here for the public to meet.
I think those are just things that were brought up in conversation at a meeting, so I don't know, so that's not something that's definite. I know that that was just an idea for, if somebody, it's such a beautiful, you know.
Oh, it
thing
is
to
a
be-
beautiful building.
Yes, to be able to come in and not really as a restrooms, because we have those throughout. It was just to get warmed if they wanted to. We will have choirs on the outside, of
Okay.
course, like we have in the past. But I do have, I don't know if you're familiar with Sharon Day from Spiceland. She does a hammered dulcimer. She said she'd be glad to sit in there and play that the whole time. If
Lisa just correct me, no vendors, so I
Okay, good.
apologize. I was wrong on that. I
Okay.
apologize.
That's okay. And I think that was just comments, just to see what, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Lisa did send out an email,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody raised their hand to say they
Right,
would be here
right.
for cider and cookies.
Yes. And that's kind of like her,
And
she
and I know
brought
a
that
lot of
up.
us are at other locations
Sure,
during the Christmas
sure.
walk.
Right.
I mean, I don't have a problem opening the first floor.
I don't. The only thing
Is the only question, probably the same question.
the only concern I have is if we make a motion and we set this in record saying we will allow you to do it, then every other group that wants to come in, and this is a public building, but for it to be open after hours and we allow everybody in there, then we're not sure what groups, and then the public starts saying, okay, now we have this outfit, and they're not
Right.
really.
And I don't think, I mean, I don't know that we as a chamber mentioned that or asked for that. It was, Lisa had said, what about if we did this? So, I mean, it wasn't the chamber coming in, it was kind of
And
her thought.
Personally, I
process.
don't have a
Okay,
problem. I
good.
don't think any of us do.
Sure.
We're trying to look ahead that
Mhm.
what are we opening ourselves up for?
Sure,
And
sure.
if someone falls down the stairs after hours for whatever reason,
Right.
then where does that set us up?
Right.
That's my only concern. In the basement, using the facilities, they can roam through the building. We wouldn't be able to stop them.
Oh, okay. I didn't
But we don't have the lights turned on the other
Yes.
floors.
Right,
We
right.
turn the lights on the basement floor.
And then I'm probably not too many people brave enough to,
Come into the
I've never
basement.
been in the basement, so I don't know.
Oh, really?
I wouldn't even go right now. But we were just thinking if that was something that was a possibility, then we wanted to be able to make sure people knew that was something. So it's either yes or no. I mean, we would love it. The lady would like to play the hammered dulcimer somewhere. We don't have anywhere inside for her to do that. It would be too cold for her to be outside, but she had mentioned it, and we were like, well, if this happened, and there would be a person in the hallway the whole time, so, but if not, that's okay
You
also.
you don't have any concerns or?
I mean, I doubt, like I said, I mean, anytime you have a building after hours, people wander, that would be a concern. I suppose if
Right.
you had somebody there, kind of ensure that didn't happen, is less than that concern.
I'm open for a motion.
He's got his finger on the button, waiting for me to make a motion.
The motion would be that we allow them to use the courthouse for the downstairs restrooms. What I'm not clear in this motion is whether or not they're going to be on the first floor.
That is what they're requesting, so that would be what we would allow the lady to come in and play the dulcimer on the first floor, and there would obviously need to be someone, here's what you're saying. So,
You would prefer that somebody would be here,
That'd be my preference.
county or volunteer, either one, that we have ensured that somebody, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the logistics of all that or how you get upstairs other than this
maybe you were
stairway right
volunteering.
here. So I will be running around. I can definitely come in, so.
I mean, you could lock individual offices that night to make sure all those are locked.
Lisa has said if the chamber doesn't need you elsewhere, she would stay at the courthouse. Would you need Lisa elsewhere?
I don't know. I don't think so, but I mean,
I'll make a motion that we claim Lisa for the first floor. and we allow that to happen on December the 7th.
Do I have a second?
I gotta think about this. I mean, I'm not against it. I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded that Lisa gets drafted.
See what she
She's
texted me.
drafted a second. Okay.
To do this, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
And I will say that's what was being on my text. It was Lisa Lovelace cleaning
Now,
things up.
with that being done,
Thank you.
no problem. This is not wanting to stand very well.
Here,
The picture that you are seeing is Lieutenant General Bruce R. Harris, and the city of Newcastle and Henry County has a proclamation, whereas Lieutenant General Bruce R. Harris was born and raised in Indiana, graduated from Newcastle Public School System, whereas he served our county for more than 33 years, our country, pardon me, for 33 years, active duty United States Army, including Distinguished Service Medal, Legion Medal, Merit Bronze Star, Meritorious Service Medal, and Air Medals. He was an airborne qualified and Master Army Aviator. Now therefore it be proclaimed that the Henry County Board of Commissioners and the City of Newcastle honor Lieutenant General U.S. Army retired Bruce R. Harris for his long-standing service to his country. It was adopted on November the 6th, City of Newcastle, and if everything works and we approve this, it'll be adopted today by the Henry County Board of Commissioners. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion adopted, motion approved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. This is a new proclamation. Do I have any comments from the public?
Oh, wait, you got November 22nd meeting.
Just a second.
Okay. Hi, Lisa.
That'll teach you to leave a meeting, won't it? Real quick, November 22nd, Commissioners' meeting is the day before the Thanksgiving holiday. Do we want to change that date or cancel that meeting, period?
I would, for some reason, I already have it on my calendar for the 21st.
I thought we had either moved it or contemplated canceling it once before.
Because I also have it on the 22nd as well, so take your pick. But I do have it on my, do you have it on yours, Joel, for the 21st? You don't, then we? Okay. You do? I think it's been talked about, don't think, so I will make the motion to move it to the 21st at 6 o'clock,
Second.
since I already have it on my calendar for that date.
Motion's been made and seconded to move November 22nd meeting to the 21st.
Yes. So, and, yes, and we also have,
Or it was actually the 23rd was when we were supposed to have it, right?
no, we're supposed to have it on the 22nd, 2023.
Oh, that's
Moving
right,
it to
because
the
it was
21st.
23rd was.
And we also have a work session on the 22nd, so do you want to move the work session at 3 o'clock as well?
I will entertain a motion to do so.
Let's move the commissioner work session from 3 o'clock on the 22nd to 3 o'clock on the 21st as
Second.
well.
So I have two motions and 2 seconds to move the regular meeting to the 21st at 6 o'clock and the work session the 21st at 3 o'clock. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Now, do I have any comment from the public?
My name is Melanie Sanders Douglas, and I've come here many times. Several years ago, when I talked to Jake Martin, head a president of the expo thing, I explained to him that for over 30 years I've had severe glaucoma. And 3 years ago, they discovered I have macular eye degeneration. And I told him I would like to see this dad's shelter built before I go blind. I'm already legally blind because I've already lost peripheral vision. But I need to see if there's anything positive still that's going on.
I will recall, because we have made strides to,
We have reached out to the expo about getting a meeting. We're working on getting that done. I'd like it to happen, obviously, as soon as possible.
Okay.
We are working on it,
Okay.
trying to get something set up as quick as possible and a definitive direction after that.
They did, a couple months ago, they did laser surgery, mild laser surgery down in Indianapolis, and it didn't work. So tomorrow, I go down for abrasive eye surgery down at Indianapolis with the laser. So the sooner I can see it, the better. I appreciate it.
We are working toward that.
yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.